In the vast starry ocean of the Star Wars universe, ships aren't just vehicles, they're legends. Each one represents an ideology, a faction, a moment in galactic history. From the sleek, stealthy fighters of the rebellion to the colossal might of the Empire, the ships we're about to explore have shaped the course of wars, determined destinies, and left a legacy that will never fade. These vessels are more than just tools for travel or war. They are symbols of power, freedom, resistance, and survival. The Rebel Alliance, for example, needed ships that were fast, versatile, and built for surprise attacks. They couldn't match the Empire's sheer might, but they used ingenuity and courage to stand up to the might of a regime that sought to dominate the galaxy. On the other hand, the Empire created machines of terror, monolithic ships designed not only for war, but to inspire fear, ensuring that no corner of the galaxy could escape their control. The Emperor's might, embodied in these warships, became a dominant force feared throughout space. In this special breakdown, we'll go beyond the mechanics and explore the stories behind the 10 most iconic ships in Star Wars, how they were designed, how they were used in battle, and what makes them unforgettable. From the epic battles of the Galactic Civil War to the tactical dogfights of the Clone Wars, these ships are at the center of some of the most crucial moments in Star Wars history. So strap in, it's time to fly. The Millennium Falcon, a ship that embodies the spirit of rebellion, scrappy survival, and the heart of a hero. Originally a YT-1300 Corellian light freighter, the Falcon was anything but ordinary. Its hyperdrive was a mess. Its sensors were outdated. But for its crew, Han Solo, Chewbacca, and later, Rey, this ship was home. The Millennium Falcon is known as the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy, but it's not just its speed that makes it special. The Millennium Falcon wasn't designed for warfare or to carry troops, but it became one of the most influential ships in Star Wars history through sheer modification and invention. Han Solo and Chewbacca, in their unique blend of skill and improvisation, constantly upgraded the ship's weapons, shields, and hyperdrive system. The Falcon was equipped with a Corellian hyperdrive motivator, quad laser cannons, sensor jammers, and a range of smuggling compartments. All upgrades that made it the perfect ship for a smuggler and a rebel hero. Despite being old and battered, it was the crew that made the Millennium Falcon a standout in the galaxy. It was here that Luke Skywalker came into contact with the Rebel Alliance and began his journey to become a Jedi. It was also here that the Falcon escaped the Imperial fleet time and time again, from the Death Star to the Battle of Endor. Its hyperdrive may have been unreliable, but the Falcon always delivered when it mattered most. The Falcon not only played a pivotal role in destroying the first Death Star, but it also played a crucial role in the final battle against the Sith Eternal Fleet at Exegol. Through it all, the Millennium Falcon remains a symbol of hope and resilience. It's not just a ship, it's a home, a symbol of the fight against tyranny. The X-Wing Starfighter was the primary fighter of the Rebel Alliance, the hero of dogfights, the bane of the Empire's tyranny. The T-65 X-Wing was designed to be versatile, agile, and capable of taking on the Empire's most formidable war machines. With its S-foils that opened into an X shape, this fighter symbolized the determination of the rebellion, the courage to face overwhelming odds. The X-Wing's legacy isn't just in its firepower or speed, it's in its symbolism. The X-Wing was a perfect reflection of the rebels' fight. Scrappy, determined, and unwilling to back down. No matter the odds, Luke Skywalker used the X-Wing to destroy the first Death Star at the Battle of Yavin, proving the impossible could be achieved by those who refused to give up. The X-Wing became the rebels' symbol of hope. Its proton torpedoes, laser cannons, and astromech droids like R2-D2 helped rebels across the galaxy stay one step ahead of the Empire. In Battle of Endor, the X-Wing fighters fought alongside the MC-80 Mon Calamari cruiser to take down the second Death Star. The courage shown by X-Wing pilots symbolized the victory of the rebels and the collapse of Imperial power. The X-Wing is not just a ship. It's the definitive rebel fighter. It became synonymous with the fight for freedom, and its role in key victories solidified its place in Star Wars history. When you think of Imperial ships, the TIE Fighter is the image that comes to mind. TIE stands for Twin Ion Engine, and this ship was designed for one purpose: to overwhelm the enemy through sheer numbers. The TIE Fighter was fast, agile, and deadly, but it came with serious drawbacks: no shields and no hyperdrive. TIE Fighters were mass-produced by the Empire to be used as disposable weapons, swarming enemy forces with speed and numbers. While vulnerable when isolated, in numbers they were a lethal tool. Their iconic screeching sound has become synonymous with the Empire's ominous presence in the galaxy. The TIE Fighter was designed to intimidate and overwhelm, striking fear into rebel pilots and instilling terror into every corner of the galaxy. The TIE Fighter's legacy lies not just in its role in battle, but in its psychological impact. When rebel pilots hear that shriek and see the flashing TIE Fighters come into view, they know they're facing a well-coordinated Imperial assault. From the Battle of Yavin to the Battle of Endor, the TIE Fighter represented the Empire's power: swift, deadly, and unstoppable. The Imperial-class Star Destroyer was a symbol of the Empire's power and domination. At 1.6 kilometers long, this warship was designed to intimidate, destroy, and control. With turbo lasers, ion cannons, and a vast fleet of TIE Fighters, it was the backbone of the Empire's military. The Star Destroyer wasn't just a ship, it was a mobile fortress. Star Destroyers were designed to project Imperial power across the galaxy, enforcing control, establishing dominance, and crushing any resistance. Their presence meant the Empire had arrived, and no planet or fleet could stand against their firepower. The Executor, Darth Vader's personal flagship, was the epitome of Imperial might. It's no surprise that the Star Destroyer was involved in pivotal battles, such as the Battle of Hoth, where it fought to suppress rebel forces and secure the Empire's dominance. Despite the Star Destroyer's overwhelming size and firepower, it met its fate during the Battle of Endor, where the Executor was destroyed in a tragic crash. The Executor's fall marked the Empire's eventual collapse, though the legacy of the Star Destroyer lived on through the Resistance's continued fight. The ship of one of the galaxy's most feared bounty hunters, Boba Fett. Slave One is a strange and lethal craft. Initially owned by Jango Fett, Boba's father, Slave One was a Firespray 31 class patrol and attack craft. Its unique design, rotating 90 degrees for flight, made it an oddity in the galaxy, but it was deadly in the right hands. What made Slave One so dangerous wasn't just its weapons. It was the way it tracked and hunted its prey. With advanced tracking systems, blaster cannons, and seismic charges, Slave One was feared throughout the galaxy. Boba Fett used it to capture the Millennium Falcon, and Han Solo, whose capture was crucial to his success. The ship's stealth capabilities made it an ideal vessel for a bounty hunter, and it allowed Fett to perform his most notorious hunts. The legacy of Slave One extends beyond just Boba Fett. It's a symbol of the quiet, deadly efficiency that defines the bounty hunter profession. Slave One made its mark in Star Wars lore, and though Fett's pursuit of justice may have faltered, the ship remained a legendary tool in the galaxy. The Jedi Starfighter is the embodiment of the Jedi's philosophy: precision, agility, and efficiency. Unlike the bulky starfighters of the Empire or the Rebels, the Jedi Starfighter, specifically the Delta 7 Aethersprite class, was designed for speed and maneuverability. These ships were used by the Jedi Knights during the Clone Wars, equipped with advanced proton torpedoes, laser cannons, and astromech droids like R4P-17. The Jedi Starfighter's sleek design was not just a feat of engineering, it was a symbol of the Jedi's peaceful nature, capable of swift strikes against the enemies of the Republic. The Jedi Starfighter gave Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and others the ability to strike quickly, providing support during key Clone Wars campaigns. Anakin Skywalker's Starfighter stood out as an iconic personal craft. His relationship with his ship reflected his nature as both a Jedi and a warrior. From the Battle of Geonosis to the final days of the Clone Wars, the Jedi Starfighter played a key role in ensuring the Jedi Order's survival. It's an agile, lethal vessel, and a vital tool for the galaxy's defenders. 12 to 1330. The U-Wing was introduced in Rogue One, a Star Wars story, as a crucial tool for the Rebel Alliance. It was a versatile transport ship, capable of carrying troops, cargo, and providing fire support when necessary. Its swing-wing design, which allowed for a streamlined transition from atmospheric flight to space travel, made it adaptable for both combat and transport duties. The U-Wing's hybrid nature allowed it to serve multiple roles on the battlefield, reflecting the Rebel Alliance's adaptability and resourcefulness. One of the key moments in the U-Wing's history was its role in the Battle of Scarif. This ship was used to transport the Rogue One team to the Imperial Security Complex, where they were able to secure the plans for the Death Star. Though primarily a troop transport, the U-Wing was also equipped with laser cannons to provide defensive fire and assist in the team's successful escape. In a galaxy where resources were limited, the U-Wing was an essential part of the Rebel forces' efforts to infiltrate, gather intelligence, and conduct covert operations. Its design reflected the Rebel Alliance's reliance on ingenuity and clever tactics, making it a symbol of the fight for freedom against the Empire's overwhelming force. The MC-80 Mon Calamari cruiser was one of the most distinctive ships in the Rebel fleet, both in design and function. Unlike the cold, industrial ships of the Empire, the Mon Calamari ships were organic, their curved lines and smooth surfaces reflecting the aquatic culture of their creators. The MC-80, a heavily modified Mon Calamari passenger liner, was used as a warship during the Galactic Civil War. The MC-80 was an early symbol of the Rebel Alliance's struggle to fight back against the Empire's power, and its battle capabilities proved that even a relatively small and humble craft could stand toe-to-toe with the Empire's most formidable vessels. The Rebel fleet's use of these modified civilian ships underscored the improvised nature of the rebellion. Admiral Ackbar commanded the MC-80 during the Battle of Endor, where it played a crucial role in the destruction of the second Death Star. Ackbar's tactical genius, combined with the ship's advanced deflector shields and heavy firepower, made the MC-80 a formidable foe against the larger Imperial-class Star Destroyers. Despite its humble beginnings, the MC-80 cruiser became an iconic vessel for the Rebel Alliance, embodying their resourcefulness and their fight for freedom. Its contribution in the Battle of Endor marked the beginning of the Empire's fall. The Death Star was not just a ship, it was a weapon of mass destruction, capable of obliterating entire planets with a single shot. The first Death Star constructed by the Empire was a moon-sized battleground, armed with a super laser that could turn entire planets into rubble. The destruction of Alderaan marked the Death Star's introduction to the galaxy, and its terrifying power forever changed the course of the Rebel Alliance's fight against the Empire. Designed as a tool of terror, the Death Star symbolized the Empire's ruthlessness and its willingness to destroy entire civilizations to maintain control. The Alderaan destruction was a direct consequence of Princess Leia Organa's defiance of the Empire, and it became the rallying point for the Rebel forces to fight back. Though it met its demise at the hands of Luke Skywalker in the Battle of Yavin, its legacy lived on in the second Death Star, which was again destroyed, this time during the Battle of Endor. The second Death Star was more powerful, more complete, and ready to deliver its death blow to the Rebel forces. However, thanks to the Rebel fleet's tactical strikes and the eventual destruction of the superweapon, the Death Star was finally brought down. Despite its destruction, the Death Star remains the ultimate symbol of the Empire's dominance and the destructive power it wielded. The Executor was a super star destroyer, the personal flagship of Darth Vader. At a staggering 19 kilometers in length, it dwarfed the standard Imperial-class Star Destroyer and was armed with overwhelming firepower. With dual ion cannons, turbo lasers, and TIE fighter bays, the Executor was a perfect symbol of Imperial might and terror. As Darth Vader's flagship, the Executor was used for Imperial operations, especially during the hunt for the Rebel fleet and efforts to track down the Millennium Falcon. The ship's role in the Battle of Endor marked the height of the Empire's power. It was here that Admiral Piet commanded the fleet, including the Executor, in pursuit of the Rebel fleet. However, the Executor's fall came when the Rebel fleet launched a surprise attack on the second Death Star. In one final act of desperation, the Executor was destroyed after being struck by the Rebel fleet's fighters, and it crashed into the Death Star's superstructure, resulting in the ship's destruction and the Empire's ultimate defeat. Darth Vader's flagship, despite its immense size and power, met its end at the hands of the Rebel forces, symbolizing the Empire's collapse. From the Millennium Falcon's underdog status to the terrifying power of the Death Star, each of these ships has left an indelible mark on the Star Wars universe. They represent more than just machines of war. They represent the clash of ideologies, the determination of rebels, and the unwavering power of the Empire. Whether in the form of a rebel fighter, an Imperial flagship, or a galactic weapon of mass destruction, these ships are at the heart of Star Wars. Each one tells a story of resilience, sacrifice, and victory. From the birth of the Rebel Alliance to the fall of the Galactic Empire. The Millennium Falcon and its loyal crew, the X-Wing fighters battling against impossible odds, the TIE fighters screaming through space. All of these ships, whether humble or imposing, define the essence of Star Wars. They are symbols of the galaxy's ongoing struggle for freedom, and they prove that even the smallest of ships can change the course of galactic history. In Star Wars, ships are not just ships. They are the symbols of history, the harbingers of change, and the vessels of heroes and villains alike. And just like the galaxy itself, their stories are far from over.